Hey guys, so I'm back with another video of cue cards. Today we are in a new week of Tourney, and I will be showing you guys my deck, some playthrough, and what I've opened recently, what I've gotten, and maybe what I get to rip later. So starting off, again, keep league rules in mind, just so a little bit of context before I talk about my deck. Starting energy 10, minimum energy 10, max energy 40, and energy per turn 20. So this one is very much high power or high energy type week. I'm currently sitting at T-Rex. Um, it's going to be a tough week to get up top, but as you guys see, last week I did reach top 100. This is probably my favorite avatar of them all. Here are all my avatars. I've made top 100 for the past 4 weeks now. I was actually sticking to Dragon for a good while. It wasn't until I just found myself seeing how many trophies the leagues were getting. I was like, oh, I think I can manage that. But it has gotten very competitive since last week. So hopefully I get to make it up top this week. So going straight off into my deck and maybe what we've pulled recently, what's worthwhile. I did get Cloaking Device. I was able to get one of the 50/50s, but I have not gotten enough gems for a second one. So I think I just might trade it for whatever comes around. I did get a decent trade for Testudo, up to you guys, but I did get Sun Wukong, Electric Eel, Merlin, and Tom Gozen for Testudo formation. I was lucky to get a dupe from, I think just a wheel spin, limited rare, even though it came out epic. So I think that's probably my favorite spin on the spin wheel, just because you can get limited epic. So I don't know why I left that. Going here to my deck, this is currently the deck that I am using for this week. I'll just go a brief overview of what my train of thought here. So I am getting more lenient and forgiving on rainbow decks and not sticking to the just two for arrows. I know in my head it's like I'm missing out on 60 plus power and more, but at the same time, one card from from one more album just might be worth it. And in this case, so far it has been, because I've been winning most matches. And I really like these matches just because there's so much power and energy output that you can really experiment and just kind of go all out. You know, any week where you can use Godzilla is going to be a pretty intense week. So going here with my train of thought, uh, I'm really, really bargaining with that power. Sometimes maybe even using a little too much, not depending on the handout that I get, but Testudo formation is probably what makes everything overpricey. But Petronas Towers is kind of my crutch. So this is my second take on the video. I was basically bragging about this card and how this is kind of carrying my deck without really putting any high output. It's because it puts such high energy that it is perfect play with Testudo. Because now I go from 20 energy per round to 26. And I understand my enemy gets that. But unfortunately, not many people are going to bank that their enemy is going to give them all that free energy. So in my train of thought is that sure, maybe that could make a difference for their deck, so they also don't have to worry that round. But at the same time, they've probably built their deck around their theme, and they can't just expect that, ooh, the enemy's going to give me energy. You know? I mean, someone can think that, but what are the odds? Because I've only seen me give me energy. Aside from someone might having the Khalifa Tower, I believe something Barge Khalifa, the building from I forgot the place of it now, but it's someplace that rich fake city with the fake deserts and all that. Having a brain fart here. So yeah, this card right here, I would say is a staple in this deck, especially when played with Testudo. I tend to play these two together. A lot of these cards do tend to just buff around. It buffs around it, and it stays like Yeti. And this is usually the card I hold on to in endgame, and usually it has around 250 uh, damage when I do it right. But the only thing that's inhibiting that now is Door to Hell. Now, that's why I'm actually a bit hesitant with Door to Hell in this deck. I haven't necessarily found anything better. I haven't actively looked, and nothing really comes to mind, so it stays for now. And it's the only series that doesn't get buffed, the only album that doesn't get buffed because I have three, and that's kind of what I'm trying to work around, because I'm technically losing on like 120 buff points right there, because these three aren't getting it, and I believe actually, yeah, that's about it. And you know, it could be, but I don't necessarily find another Life of Land is the bigger album here. I don't find anything that really can fit in here. um so my biggest obstacle are debuff decks, you know, anything that has the Arthro and Sea Sheep, but I have so much buff that I don't even worry about it. I would like a better card than Hypernova just because it's just for one turn. That's the only thing I dread about this card, because sometimes, for example, I have Hypernova, then Godzilla, and Testudo's already played, and it's just too far expensive, and I'm forced to play Hypernova, and I lose out on playing Godzilla or Carcho. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys how this card plays out. You can see it in action. Hopefully I play a real player, not a bot. Um, I guess it's not a really a real complaint I have with this game, especially when I'm trying to reach top 100. I mean, I want to get there legit. You know, I don't cheat or none of that, obviously. But when you fight a bot, it's kind of one-sided, you know, and you know you can tell the difference, especially with the like. I wish at least the bots at my level would be a little more intricate. Okay, greetings. This guy's definitely definitely a real player. So let's see. He probably already has Door to Hell activated. So this is not the best hand. I could already play Testudo, but I'm not going to, just because it would inflate my already heavy deck that I have in hand. And oh wow, Anubis. So one thing I want to say, my weakness is the first round. I tend to just give the first round away. Very few times do I have a hand that I can play instantaneously, and I'm okay with that. I admit to that. It. A side note: thinking about the game and trying to provide commentary, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's a skill. Okay, it's not a huge skill, but it's a skill, and I'm learning. And sometimes you just lose your train of thought because you're trying to game while trying to explain aspects of the game, especially when it's a bit intricate. Am I going to trail by 100? No, but I am going to win. Nope, lose. Even better. Yeah, very few times does round one work in my favor, but I can sacrifice that round because I know the rest of the game I will have high energy. It's not to say, oh, see, I'm right here. This is one of the most useful hands I can have. Petronas. Okay, I got 26 energy per turn. Testudo. Gonna increase all my power. And let's just get rid of Caño Cristales because I want it recycled. So I'm not sure why his power's powered down right now, but I'm already winning. And you're going to see all my cards, high energy cards, just come out. Even more high energy, but I'm going to be sitting at a 36 energy. So you'll see right here. Hypernova. So Hypernova, Blue Dragon, Emerald Tree. Just look at this glorious output damage that I'm handing out to him. 470. That's not even the best we can do. You'll see. And if you look in the bottom, round per score, just keep track of that, okay? And I'll see how much I can output on round per score. Okay, so unfortunately I did not win that one directly, or let me see, is Emerald Boa per turn or round? Okay, per turn. If I would have done that, I would have debuffed his remaining cards. And then here is another way that this is going to work in my favor. Stampede, subtracts 2 for the round. But since it's the final round, I have nothing to worry about, and I want that out right now. Placing YETI buff and placing arrows. 424. That's a steady number right there. He did have that high buff right there. Is that going to keep me in game? Just barely. Alright, so now let's look. Okay, for reference, this is what I did first turn, and this is only because energy was a hindrance, especially from that first turn. That first turn does not like me one bit, but that's okay because I'm just going to work around it. I'll take my loss as long as I can provide. Look at that output damage. And he has an impressive deck, so this only makes it a lot more interesting for me. I'm holding on to Behemoth. I might play him, but he can burn for 1 round if it means I get another high powered card like Bald Eagle, because I at least want 2 high power cards to linger, so 2 cards can get that 50 point, or yeah, that is it 50? Yeah, I believe, to get that buff. Not to mention Heimdall just basically saved the burn for this round, so they have the same amount of power. And this is excellent. This is just what I want. I will place the Carcho down. Easily this person can surpass 400. Okay, he didn't surpass 400 now because he's just buffing his power. So this deck that is in front of me, I am quite scared of, actually. I do not know what he is going for. It looks like he has a great balance of high-powered cards and having high-powered energy cards. So that's okay because I will place down... Shoot. I'm going to place down Ankilo because I believe that 15 right there might save my butt. I need to stay 100 ahead. 100 ahead, come on. I know I'm winning. I know I'm going to win, but can I stay 100 ahead for that mountain? Amazing. God's foretell of victory. So I can theoretically win this last round. I have Petronas and Testudo and Godzilla. I'm going to hold on to Godzilla. He's already got great power. Yep, and then Supernova actually came in clutch this time because I didn't want to use Godzilla, and he's still a high-powered card. And then, okay, reference, 529 first round, 1,100 first round, 1,146. Actually, that wasn't too far off difference. But you see how steady this power is, and it's going to get even more powerful. Even the deck in front of me is saying that the showdown of the century. Yes, it is. And that's why I really like this week, because it just all, so much power. So much power, and I love that. Oof, energy is becoming an issue. Even with Testudo, even placing Testudo with the buildings, you can see how I'm struggling just a tiny bit with that power. I would preferably rather have had Stampede there, but I just didn't. I just came a bit short up. If I lose this round, I'm done for. But I think I can place down every single card here. Yep. This might not be a winning hand, but I'll be surprised if I do. Yikes. I did not mean to click that. I meant to say I wish I had never left the farm. A worthy opponent. Thank you. Thank you. Even though I used the wrong thing. I think I fought in this person before, this individual, in the previous tournament. We may already be friends. Yep. I am doubtful that I'm going to win this round, but it seems here, if you look, he used Hell, and I think that was his best hand. I didn't lose by too much, but if you look at that L score, that is a very, like he said, that's a very big showdown. So I'm going to place Heimdall, Blue Dragon. I wanted to place down Ankros, but since I cannot, I mean, I got to use what's best next. And like I said, that's my biggest flaw is when I don't have those buildings, and when I just have a different set of hands or a different set of cards in my hand, it can easily play in my favor or not. I'm only losing by 1. How am I going to play this? Definitely you. You give a buff to everyone. Ah! Oh, I'm dead, dead. I'm dead, dead. Don't taunt me like that, bro. I'm dead, dead. I can't even beat his passive. That passive is insane. And hit. Oh, I didn't think that would have cycled already. I can usually tell the cycles. I can count the cards, but when I'm recording, it's a different story. I'm not losing by that much. And I debuffed his stupid thing. Okay, never mind. I'm screaming on the inside right now, you guys. This is tough. If I somehow clutch, there's no way. He's already at 400. I can't beat his. I can barely surpass his passive power. Well played. Great deck. Oh, he even cycled. Hell. Oh. Oof. Hey, you know, it's a battle of the century. Let's look at the round score. Hurry. 1,067, 1,400. He kept that score steady. We will look through his deck here and do a quick little analysis. My earned gems, my daily earned gems has cycled back. Great deck. Thank you so much, Flex Tape. Thank you for such a great matchup. I think this is a perfect way to learn and to evaluate both of our decks. And I know this is going to go, and you'll understand when I get there, but this goes back to my deck and where its main weak point is, whereas his was able to surpass mine. So let's go all the way down and just kind of give it a go. So actually the focal point of my weakness is already present here. And that weakness is energy. Energy in the cards, the price of my cards. I place down one card down, he placed down two. Second turn, I place down 2 cards, he placed down 3. Now that might not look too good on these first 2 rounds, maybe the first one, but if you look in the second one, I did 250, 1 power, and where he did 90. But he's already preparing to buff himself and ensure the victory on the second turn. So maybe he was doing something similar like me, where I wasn't afraid to throw away the first round, but he knew on that first round he was already setting his cards up a lot more fluidly, a lot with a rhythm. And that's kind of how I think about my deck. If the deck doesn't have a rhythm, if each cards don't complement one another, and it just feels like I got random cards doing their own thing, they're just not going to do the best. And if you guys hear some background noise, I have literally a bit of construction going around me in home. And on top of that, my bird is just cranky. So if you just heard him scream, I apologize. But yeah, his flow of cards, his rhythm is working a little better. Sure, I wouldn't consider using Castle for my deck, even though it does have a lot of high power. I mean, he burned the crap out of it in this case. But he wasn't afraid to do that because he was just, I'm pretty sure he used it on the second turn, because when he saw that he had a shot here, he took it. He took it because he knew that I'm going to put down 1 or 2 cards because I have high energy cards. He kind of read through me at this last turn, because at this point, I had probably only around less than 100, slightly over 100 power over him. So he doubled down, and it paid off for him. Unlike here, this round 2 is already where my flow started, but his was already undergoing much more ahead of mine in terms of boosting. He's already got, I got this card first than him, but at the same time, right here, his bigger thing is buffing himself passively and semi-actively with Heimdall, and I'm not Andro. I'm just going to call him Andro. I'm not going to bother saying all that right now. Here I did a crazy amount of high damage. Again, he used that to his advantage with Flying Dutchman. Hal, in this case, I think he just wanted to cycle that, even though he could have probably buffed it more. This is the thing with cycling decks. Cycling your deck, what it does, especially if you have buffs, passive power, or even if you're losing, it helps you get them it buffs them over time, because if you're passively buffing them, the more cards you put out, the faster you passively buff yourself, the faster you buff your cards, and the faster you'll get the cards you want at the last turn. Because if we go all the way up to my final hand, I didn't play it, but in my final turn, I had Testudo. And if you see all these blank spaces here, I got 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 2 whole rounds, basically. 2 whole hands that I basically could have just not done anything. And if you can count the cards, that only means Testudo would have come out 2.5 times, theoretically, because he came out at the end, which was his 3rd time. But I say 2.5 because that half is like useless. Even if he came out in the 2nd round, if he would have came out here on the 2nd round, he would have been a lot more useful. Because if I had that extra 48 power and I used them here, that would have at least put me at a better shot. I mean, the hell probably would have still beaten me, but I would have had a better shot if I cycled my deck better. So I am trying to find ways to cycle my deck better, but I'm still figuring out that with how I want my deck. Cards that do work in my favor are probably this one's a staple for sure. And Kilo, I'm hesitant if he needs to stay in the deck. He's a great paleo, high power and energy. Carcho, especially in this case where the passiveness was overpowering me, this helps smooth it out. It only works for a turn, and it's just kind of pricey. It's not the best ability out there, in my opinion. This one is probably here to stay. This one is a great card for the high energy, high output, because it only helps you put even more output. This one is a staple unless for some reason my deck does no longer consume high amounts of energy, but I don't think that's going to happen, as I'm going to keep Testudo. Caño, it's kind of again, maybe if I find something better. I can't really find something that great in a rainbow deck for water other than Caño, and then there's one more river card that gets a buff, but I don't really need it. Well, maybe I think might be better than Blue Dragon. Blue Dragon is great for locking a card and subtracting just a bit, but I might try that card out, because it does do more damage. And if I'm looking for power, it can't be debuffed because it has a low base power, and I think it's a lot cheaper too, so that actually might be a decent alternative. Eros, I mean, what can I say? It's not the best, it's not the worst, but you kind of need it in your rainbow decks. Heimdall actually is, in my opinion, way better. I'm glad I got this from a trade. Door to Hell, I think I'm going to keep it for now. But in the enemy's deck, yeah, he has, I will give him this. A lot of thought went into his deck. His is refined. I think he's set to get, to make sure he's in the top 100, in my opinion. But this is just one of those things where I'm like, I do not have the limited. These are all, it's like a whole, my bird's going off, I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure his whole deck is like limited cards. And the rarest at that. I haven't seen many Machu Picchu, but I know Hippocrates or Hypocrites. It's 2 P's, it's not Hypocrites for sure. Definitely one of the harder cards out there. And Anubis is straight up one of the very, very last level up rewards. So this guy is just at a huge advantage with his level and the time he's played and the gems, which is not a bad thing. You should obviously be rewarded if you're that far up. But your cards in hand do 4 to apply with this. Wow. Yeah, see that? I think that is the very last level up card. That is a crazy buff card right there. Flying Dutchman, man, that is one weird mythic. I do not know how I feel about it. It is kind of a sitting duck if you're not losing. But man, when you're losing, that thing is basically a hell right there. So him having hell and Flying Dutchman works really well with his passive power, because it works really well if he doesn't have enough passive power in the third round, and that could very much be the possibility. So yeah, I don't see this guy losing to many decks out there. I mean, I'll be surprised, I really will, but I do not see myself beating this guy again if I ever come across him. All right, so I think I've rambled enough, and my bird is probably not going to be quiet till I go over there and say hi. So I think I'm going to leave it off with this video, you guys. Not much to open, nothing in store that I really want to open. Don't have any gems either way. If you guys want to leave your tips and tricks, what cards you think I should replace, what cards you think I should try out, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.